Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Let's Play The Last of Us. In our last episode, Joel was trying to stop the surgery that was going to be used to try to find a cure for the infection once and for all, which unfortunately would have taken Ellie's life. But then Joel made several decisions and several choices, and you can watch the previous video because I don't really want to talk about I don't really want to talk about it right now. I'm just gonna continue playing because I'm speechless right now.
All right.
Very speechless.
Now watch your head going through.
Here, I got it.
Oh. Feeling my age now. Don't think I ever told you, but Sarah and I used to take hikes like this. I think the two of you would have been good friends. I think you really would have liked her. I know she'd have liked you.
Bet I would have.
Wow.
Oh. Right down there. Just a little bit further now.
Joel? Joel.
Here, I got you.
Come on.
All right, come on.
Hey, wait. Back in Boston? Back when I was bitten? I wasn't alone. My best friend was there. And she got bit too. We didn't know what to do. So, she says, let's just wait it out. You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together. I'm still waiting for my turn.
Ellie.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die.
Oh, Riley.
And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
None of that is on you.
Oh, you don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And you... No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you've said about the Fireflies is true.
He'll say it was.
I swear.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know you, Joel. I know you.
Okay.
Okay. Wow, guys. Ooh, okay. So, there's a lot going in my head right now. Okay, first of all, obviously, I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to anyway. This is obviously all completely my personal opinion. And this is all what, you know, I guess was my initial reaction to the ending. Because I'm sure a lot of you are dying to find out what I know about the ending. And given what I've already said before earlier, you probably know what is coming next and what my opinion of the events of the ending, at least how it went down, you probably can guess and deduce what I'm about to say. But again, this is completely my opinion, you guys. I apologize if you disagree with it. You're more than welcome to disagree with it. And you know, it's I'm curious to find out how you guys think about it too, because my first gut reaction right now, the first thing that popped into my head, is, and I'm probably in the minority, maybe, but I have lost all respect for Joel. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. If I was being completely honest with you guys, I've lost total respect for Joel. I don't think that I've gotten to the point of hating him, but I greatly, you know, I went from disagreeing with what he was doing to just totally not respecting him as a character. Well, not necessarily respecting his character, but not respecting what he ended up doing, the choices he ended up making, because I believe that he made the wrong call, many wrong calls at the end, and I think that what Joel did was very selfish. There are, like I said, yes, you could look at it as, well, he saved Ellie's life, he risked everything to protect Ellie and to save Ellie, but what he has to understand was the mission that he was initially given was, you know, the reason why Ellie was trying to be brought to the Fireflies in the first place. Oh, look at the doggies! Sorry, I've just been distracted by doggies. The reason that he was sent to, he was trying to get Ellie to the Fireflies in the first place was to find a cure, was to save humanity. And part of it, at the time, of course, was protecting Ellie. But ultimately, his main mission was supposed to save humanity, to find a cure. And he ended up deciding not to do that. He ended up deciding that he was going to keep Ellie alive, even if that was not necessarily his choice to make. You know, I think it was Ellie's choice. They didn't really specify whether or not Ellie was given the choice, but as I said in an earlier episode, I think Ellie knew. I think Ellie was fully aware, even if she maybe never had said it aloud. I'm positive that at some point she thought that there was a possibility that part of finding a vaccine or a cure for this might mean her life. I'm almost positive she would have come to that conclusion. And I still believe that Ellie had accepted that long ago, accepted that a long time ago. But that's just my personal theory. It's hard to say this because, again, I know there's a lot of fans of Ellie, and there's probably a lot of Joel fans. But there was so many parts of Joel's actions. The humanity just seemed to have gone away from him. Because I felt so bad for Marlene, because Marlene had the best hopes. She also had the biggest hope for Joel's humanity. The Fireflies wanted to kill Joel, but she trusted in Joel's humanity. She trusted that Joel, in the end, would do what was right, according to her, what she thought was right. And that hopefully, you know, listening to those recordings, hopefully Joel would forgive her for doing what she had to do in order to save everyone. Not just everybody in the entire planet, but again, everyone who was yet to be born. And Joel took that away. I think what he did was very selfish, because it made all of the deaths and all of the suffering of every single person there who was trying to save humanity, do something good. He just wiped it all off, and all of those people suffered and died in vain. That is why I had such a huge problem with what Joel did, and why I lost complete respect for him as a character. Now, do I think that makes him a bad character? No. I think Joel was an excellent character, very well designed, and yes, I dislike what he did, but it was very believable. It was very, very believable. And quite frankly, I knew what Joel was going to do. Like, part of me felt like I would just, when I got to the hospital part of the story, part of me was so tempted to just stop playing the game. Just turn off my PS3, stop playing the game, and in my head, as my headcanon, Joel let them go on with the operation, and then they found the vaccine. That's what I wanted to do, was to either have Joel decide to allow them to have the operation, or have Joel fail. Like, in my head, he didn't make it to Ellie because I didn't help him as the player. As a player, didn't help him get to Ellie, therefore he wasn't able to stop the vaccine from being created. That's what I was tempted to do, because I knew what was going to happen at the end. Like, I saw it coming. Like, I knew Joel, as a character, I knew Joel very well. I knew that he was stubborn, and I knew that once he was set on saving Ellie, nothing was going to deter him. No appeals to his humanity, no guilt tripping by those recordings. I knew those recordings weren't going to guilt trip him. I knew he was going to shoot Marlene. I knew exactly he was going to shoot Marlene. I knew he was going to kill those doctors, the doctors who were just trying to do the right thing. I knew he was going to lie at Ellie. I totally knew he was going to lie to Ellie. I totally knew that. To her face. I knew he would look right in her face and lie to that girl. I knew that. That's why I wanted to stop the game right there, right at that point, because I did not want that to be the canon. However, that is what the canon story is. And you know what? I think I know why they did that. They made the ending that way because it opens it up to a sequel. It does. It opens it up to a sequel. Maybe when Ellie gets older. But at any rate, do I think that made the ending bad? No, it didn't make the ending bad. It's one of those endings that really leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Mostly because you were the one, as the player, you were controlling Joel, and as the player, you were the one who prevented the cure from happening. You were the one who pretty much doomed all of humanity, which I think is, it makes you feel guilty, and ironically, it makes you feel guilty, I guess I kind of also half expected there to be this big major choice in the end, like a la Deus Ex or Mass Effect, Mass Effect 3. Like, I knew this wasn't a BioWare game, and I didn't think we necessarily would be given a choice, because we haven't been given any choices per se throughout the game. So, it would have been nice. I guess I would have really loved to have been given a BioWare style choice at the end, but we didn't. Like, you had to continue in playing through, and Joel was gonna do what Joel's going to do, and you as the player just had to help him do it. So, do I think Joel is a hero? No. I personally don't believe he's a hero at all. I'm sure he's a hero to Ellie. He definitely was a hero to Ellie. I do not disagree with that. But I would not label him as a hero beyond that. And maybe you're not meant to label him as a hero beyond that. Maybe you're not supposed to, like, and maybe maybe I'm not as much in the minority. Maybe you are not supposed to like what Joel did at the end. And again, I've mentioned this before with another game, but as players, we have a tendency, because we are seeing things through the eyes of the character that we control, whoever the main protagonist happens to be that we are controlling, we understandably so have a tendency to just look at their side of things and not as much the opposing NPCs, the opposing characters. We are not able, it's more challenging to put ourselves in the shoes of others, just like in real life, because we're seeing things through the eyes of Joel and through the eyes of Ellie. So, because of that, we might be very partial towards the belief systems of the character that we're controlling. We're partial towards their wants and their desires and what they personally believe is right and wrong. Again, understandably so. But I'm the kind of player who that doesn't sway me. I still am I look at the bigger picture. And yeah, that causes me to disagree passionately even. It does cause me to disagree and maybe even totally despise what my character is doing, what my character is trying to fight for. So again, if any of you who are, who wish to defend Joel, I understand your desire to defend Joel, but I challenge you. If you were playing a different game where you were controlling Marlene, if you were controlling Marlene and the Fireflies, would you see Joel as the good guy or the enemy or the bad guy? Like, put yourself in Marlene's shoes if you were controlling her as a character. Would your feelings for her and the Fireflies be the same as they are with you now? And would your feelings with Joel and Ellie, I guess, but mostly Joel, would your feelings about Joel still be the same if you were playing from her shoes? These are the things that I, at least as a player, like to think about, and this is why I am not afraid to outright say things like that. Things like, I've lost total respect for Joel, because I don't let the fact that the protagonist is being controlled by me, that does not personally affect my opinion of his character and the other NPC characters. I had people hinting at me without giving any spoilers that the ending was one of those endings that you couldn't figure out whether you loved it or hated it. And I don't think I do either. I don't think I hated it, but I don't think I loved it either. But anyway, that's just my immediate thoughts on the ending. But overall, when you look at the game overall, this is a great game. It's a beautiful game. There's a lot of awesome things about it. Just because of the actions that Joel did at the end, I don't think I'm going to let that spoil the game for me, because if I did, that'd be really hypocritical, because I would not think that something like the ending of Mass Effect 3 should spoil the entire series for you. So even if I did hate the ending to this game, it did not spoil the game completely for me. I still think this is a great game, and I would recommend it to anyone who is deep into story and who's not afraid to question their morality, and who's not afraid to question their morality and question human psychology, I guess, and what it means to survive, and what it means. I'm just thinking about what Joel said about no matter what, you have to have something to fight for. But the Fireflies were fighting for a cure. Marlene was fighting for a cure for the people. And Joel, what he was fighting for went against that. So one thing I really liked about the game is that it's not the type of survival horror game that it doesn't depend on jump scares. There were a few moments, where I absolutely got really scared out of my wits, but that wasn't, they didn't go out of their way to jump scare you, I don't think. Like, at least not nearly as much as some of the other survival horror games. So anyway, those are my thoughts on The Last of Us. I don't regret playing it, even though right now Joel's not my favorite person at the moment, and I apologize again for all you Joel fans. But hey, I'm being honest, and I'm being very passionate about it, because I think the worst thing I could be right now is indifferent. And yeah, I'm not a big Joel fan right now. Not a big Joel fan at all. And that's just how I feel right now that I've just played the game. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and I hope that you continue enjoying whatever LPs I'm playing right now, or whatever LPs I end up deciding playing in the future. So put down in your comments your thoughts on the ending as well. Like, am I completely off base? Am I really in the minority about my feelings for Joel and what he did at the end? Am I, or do you guys actually agree with some of what I'm saying? Like, I'm very curious to find out what you guys think of the ending of The Last of Us and your feelings on, your thoughts on Joel's behavior and stuff like that. So, thanks a lot, everybody. And until next time, folks, love yourselves and love each other.